Good morning, everybody. If this was a usual year, in the sense that our dates were the same, this would be the May Day bank holiday, so you wouldn't actually be at school today. However, the bank holiday this year has moved to celebrate a particular anniversary, and that anniversary is the Victory in Europe Day that commemorates the ending of the Second World War, which I'll come to in a minute. This week's theme is British values, and we are looking this week particularly at VE Day, but it's important for us to reflect on our British values because they have a large part to play in why we were fighting the Second World War in the first place. So our British values, if you remember rightly, we remember using a hand, and there are 5 key headings, and they're there on the screen for you. So they're democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, mutual respect, and tolerance. They all really encapsulate this feeling that we live in a country where it matters how we treat each other. It matters that there's a level of fairness in our choice of government, and also that there is a structure in place to ensure that everybody can live side by side successfully, but feeling an element of free choice as well. So Friday marks VE Day, so it's a bank holiday, so we're not at school. And if we go back 75 years to the 8th of May 1945, that was when people celebrated victory in Europe at the end of the long 6-year Second World War. So it was an opportunity for people to celebrate on VE Day 75 years ago, but also to give thanks to people who gave their lives and to feel a little bit sad about the difficulties they'd gone through, which we'll come to later. So we celebrate VE Day, and particularly this anniversary of 75 years, so we also can give thanks, and we can remember that 80 years ago, between 75 and 80 years ago, people gave their lives and fought for the values that we have today in this country, to make sure we could stay the country that we are, and also to help other countries keep their values as well. So this is a picture from the 8th of May 1945. So you can see that as soon as it was announced that there was a victory, that people took to the streets. These are people dancing in the streets, having a great time. A real cause for celebration after the hardships of the war. These are some people in Trafalgar Square, in the fountains, and you might go and see, obviously, the fountains in Trafalgar Square. And if you imagine that was absolutely throngs of people, they think that at Piccadilly Circus alone there was about 50,000 people. So a big celebration for people. Again, the V sign here is a victory sign. It was all about celebrating. You see the happiness, you can see that they're keen to make the most of this occasion. This is the Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, and he's talking to the crowds and waving to the crowds. And he obviously led us to the government at the time to this point. So he'd been part of making the peace deal, if you like. Also, people gathered at Buckingham Palace. You see that today on big events. Lots of people go to Buckingham Palace. So this is the royal family with Winston Churchill on the balcony at Buckingham Palace. And you'll notice on the left, the Princess Elizabeth, who is, of course, now our Queen. And she was in her uniform, and she had a role to play in the Second World War as well. So it was a day of huge national commemoration. It was also, though, a day of sadness. And the war took a terrible toll on this country and on the people of this country. The staggering amount of people died in the war, and these are 2 girls in a bombed out house, a shell of a bombed out house. Although they're waving the flag, clearly this is a sad time for everybody, and it took a number of years for the country to recover from the Second World War. There were rationing in place and all sorts of ongoing hardship for a while afterwards, but the day, the 8th of May, commemorated the ending of the conflict, if you like, against Germany and our allies. So why are we making a big deal of VE Day this year? Well, we're making a big deal of it because it's the 75th anniversary, so that's an important anniversary. It is important for us to reflect sometimes on the things that have brought us to this point in our time, shape the values that we have today, and also it's a good opportunity for us to thank those who gave so much for this country at the time. So on Friday, there was due to be lots and lots of national celebrations, which of course, because of the current lockdown situation, we can no longer have. However, we can think positively about VE Day. We can remember those who died for the country and those who sacrificed the few years afterwards trying to live in hardship while the country recovered. we can also think about war a little bit and think about the devastation that has on us and on the world, and perhaps think a bit about those people who are keen to make peace and bring peace, and we should have those positive thoughts in our minds as well on Friday. So the bank holiday at the end of the week is VE Day. You should know a bit more about it now, a chance to remember, a cause for celebration and a cause for remembrance. So I hope you have some time to do that on Friday. In the meantime, another 4 days at school. Keep working hard. It's been great to speak to some of you. It's been lovely to see lots of the work. It's very creative that's been produced. Keep that going, and remember, do ask your teachers if you need any help. Have a lovely week, and I'll speak to you again on Monday.